Quick thing before I start the video, it is confirmed that Johnny is actually the guy from Dead Man's Hand. Frankly, I think it would have been better if it was Cobb, but fuck it, it's canon now, so whatever. Okay, here's the rest of the video. Yawning Grave. Okay, so, this was the first big roadblock I kinda had when theorizing everything, because there's two options I can either come up with this. Is that this is just death itself, or this is Avery. For the sake of convenience, we're just gonna go with Avery, because, you know, he's already a pre-existing character, so let's just go with that. Okay, so by this point in the song, I'm pretty sure Avery's kind of calmed down because it's not as hostile as the World Ender, but I'm pretty sure he's like, still pretty pissed about the people that killed his family, so he's kind of just like, it's not really right for me to play God and kill people, but like, the world would be a better place with that. Whoever he's talking to in the song. Okay, next song, Frozen Penis. This is unfortunately the only song about the character Danielle. So, after her parents were fucking abducted by aliens in the middle of the forest, Danielle becomes extremely delusional that they're gonna become back. She kind of feels like she's frozen in time. She might actually be frozen in time, because some people think that actually someone... Because people think that whoever the song actually is about might just be dead and they're just trying to move on, but I just think that maybe she just had a cabin in the woods, her parents just fucking blew up right in front of her, and she's in denial of going back into society because she thinks that they'll come back. But ultimately she realizes that, you know what, I need to move on with my life, there's more things for me to do aside from just lamenting over the death of people. So, and it ends with a very optimistic note as she decides to leave the forest and realizes that if she's going to search for them, she's going to search while living her life, or search them out of the forest. I don't know. It's a great song. Danielle's a really cool character. Also, worth pointing out, in the World Ender music video, it's revealed that the Frozen Pines is also the name of a motel, which is kind of making me wonder if actually the entire time Danielle just got locked in her hotel room and just didn't understand how to get out. Cursed, the best song ever written. You cannot argue with me on this. So, Buck has found himself a new girl, however, he is probably hallucinating, so he thinks that she's probably putting a curse on him. It is hard to tell if she actually is a witch or not, because, I mean, this is the same album where, like, a guy comes back from the dead as a vengeful zombie, so I kind of believe that she is. I also think that this is Louisa, and that maybe she has, like, a god complex, so she's, like, fucking around with him, and I kind of summed it up in this Reddit post that I wrote on Impulse a few weeks ago, so just, yeah, whatever. Either way, basically, it's just Buck thinking that he's not in love because every other romantic prospect he's ever had failed, but it really turns out that he actually is. And this is also the song that encouraged me to have my first romantic awakening. Okay, Way Out There is just Meet Me in the Woods. No, fuck, wrong song. It's just Yawning Grave, but much harder. I can only assume, again, it's Avery. The fucking tone completely shifts from World Ender. So I'm just gonna assume that still is him, just maybe he's having a change of mood. Basically, he's kind of just having a crisis because he's kind of just like, well, I don't really know if maybe living the rest of my life as a zombie, killing people is really the best course of action, but I don't want to die because, I mean, there wasn't really any afterlife for me. So he's kind of just like, fuck, now what? And I think his story kind of just gets left there until the next album, but we'll get to that later. It's also worth pointing out that maybe he disbands the World Enders, but we'll figure that out later. Okie dokie, Louisa. So after Buck is tempted to kick bricks, his new girl Louisa fucking helps him out or something like that, basically says, no dude, don't do it, and they live happily ever after. Again, hard to tell if this is the same girl from Cursed and if she is a witch or not, but because I just think it makes the story more interesting, I'm gonna go with that. Psych! You thought that I knocked out all the songs by mentioning all of Frankie Lou's songs at the start, but no, it actually is extremely fucking depressing. So if you end up watching the lyric video for The Night We Met, which was clearly made after 13 Reasons Why, because like every other musical artist, when one of their songs blows up, they just make a lyric video, it's shown that in the music video, Buck is presumably driving away from someone while having hallucinations of a girl, and guess who that girl is? Yay! So whatever few fragments of my soul were left were crumbled into dust after watching this, because this basically just told me, hey, love isn't real. Every fucking girl you'll ever find is just a hallucination in the back of your car. So that sucks. Okie dokie, side note territory. This album had a lot of interpretations, so it was pretty hard to deal with. Biggest issues I think were probably just Yawning Grave and Way Out There, but I think if it's Avery it would just make a lot of sense. The big issue though is the fact that there's only one song about Danielle, which is like, Ben, come on, you're just a fucking 12-year-old having an existential crisis. What could be more interesting than that? Okie dokie, Vuidnar, next song. Album. Ugh. Okay, so this is probably about 10 years later, taking place in both Detroit and Los Angeles, I think going from one place to the other. Now this one requires a little bit of background information, so there's this drug called Vuidnar that has recently been legalized. It's basically just a hallucinogenic, but it has the ability to destroy the fabric of reality, so fuck yeah. It's also kind of hinted in this one video that it might be made by some sort of like eldritch abomination, so this might just be Junji Ito's Uzumaki, but with emeralds instead of spirals. We'll figure it out when the movie comes out. Okay, so characters. So Ben decided that we couldn't stop suffering, so he decided to bring back Buck. Ugh, Jesus Christ. And his new girl is Lee Green, and probably wants to be an actress or something. There's also this chick, Lady Moonbeam, who I think is like a psychic or medium. Also, Cobb comes back, but now he's an electrician on a TV show. Also important to mention is this show called Products of the Universe. It's this trippy 30-minute TV show parody thing that the band made as sort of like expansion on the world building, and it's led by this chick named Marsha Tanley, and she has this guy named Dale Vlogger, whatever his name is, and he's advertising all of Weed Noir and its derivatives, and presumably might be a servant of whatever the fuck the monster is that's controlling everything, but we'll get to that point later. I wouldn't hesitate to say that Tanley probably has psychosis or something, who the fuck knows. Okay, we can finally start with the story. Okay, so for the first time, Ben actually made a completely linear story, and while I guess it is one of the easier ones to interpret because I kind of picked up on the first time I listened to this, it still doesn't mean that it's not without its issues to analyze. First song, Lost in Time and Space. Buck is upset because his new girl Lee left him probably to go Los Angeles or whatever, but he decides to chase after her nonetheless, because as we all know, when someone drops you, that clearly is a good sign for you to keep chasing after them. I've learned that from experience multiple times. Never ever, Buck's spirits basically just gets lifted as he heads out, and ancient names. Buck runs into Lady Moonbeam for advice, and she looks into the future, and she sees that Buck will become a drug addict. He's in denial and tries to run away from her, but she's like, "Why are you running?" Wait by the river. So Buck is basically just talking about how he misses Lee. It's also kind of revealed that he might have had an altercation with her where he ended up telling her to fucking kill herself or something, so I guess he was ahead of his time. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Lost in Time and Space is one of, if not the best songs from this album, but while I'm also at it, Secret of Life, another great song from this album.
Nice segue.
Okay, so this one's a little hard because it's clearly Buck singing as usual, but it's hard to tell if he's either confronting Lee or Lady Moonbeam, because whoever the fuck he's talking to apparently made a pact with Avery, and whatever the fuck that pact is gonna do is gonna fuck over Buck somehow, so he's just, fuck it I guess, and decides to get wasted. Because of this, he ends up coming back from the edge because he fucking dies. Where have we seen that before? And he talks about his experience in The Balancer's Eye, another one of the best songs from this album. So basically, he runs into fucking God and is denied access into heaven, either because he wasn't supposed to die, and God just let him come back to life, or maybe because people who take drugs aren't allowed in, or God has really high standards, so this is like some good place level shit. Again, it is kind of weird knowing that Blackfoot came back, but he went to purgatory, and Avery said that there was no afterlife period, so who the fuck knows at this point. When the night is over... Okay, so after Buck comes back to life, he realizes that Louise is... Wait, not... Fuck, wrong person. He realizes that Lee only has so much time until she's gonna overdose if she keeps taking drugs. So he decides to chase after her, but he has no idea where the fuck she is. Meanwhile, in the song Moonbeam, I have legit no idea what the fuck this is. Okay, so Moonbeam is a bit difficult because I can't tell if the song is about how Buck met Lee, or if he found Lee again because he's talking about a girl who came down like a moonbeam. I don't fucking know what the fuck this is. Maybe he ran back into Lady Moonbeam and she decided to be helpful for once, so maybe she's kind of like guiding him, because I guess she realizes that, oh, well, you already came back from the dead, so I guess your curse is lifted or some shit. Okay, Weed Noir, nothing much. Basically just Buck talking about him on drugs, and Emerald Star, the most depressing song ever written. I mean, I guess that's up for debate. Either way, after everything he fucking does, Buck finally finds Lee, but he's turned down because she decides that she would rather be a chunky, and it's also possibly hinted that she might end up fucking dying or is on the verge of death, judging by the fact that the second half of the song is just instrumental with Ben screaming into the mic, combined with the fact that at the end of the music just kind of like all jumps out. So I can only assume that she fucking dies right in front of him, so yay, I get to experience Close to You all over again. These songs would make a really good mashup. Okay, so that's the end of the Weed Noir album, but the film is supposed to be, I think, the actual ending of the album, but we're not going to get that until God knows how long, because who the fuck knows what the virus did to production, but whatever. Honestly, the more time we have until the movie comes out, the better, because I'm going to have another mental breakdown if I experience any more of this shit. Okay, side notes. It's also worth pointing out that George Ranger Johnson is the spiritual advisor on that Marsha Tanley show. Don't know what the fuck that is about. I don't know what the fuck's going on. After Weed Noir, it appears that everyone's just become a fucking hippie. Okay, so just to make sure that I can count my receipts, all of the information I got was a combination of the music videos, the interviews that Ben did, whatever was said on the back of the album covers, anything else I could scavenge from the YouTube channel, and yada yada yada. God fucking damn it, it's finally over. Well, in that case, that should be the end of everything, so thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of my very poor quality videos. And for those of you who are asking, yes, there is most likely going to be a third part to this, because some people are asking me if I could analyze shit like the EPs, and I didn't put much thought into it, but I realized I probably should. So be sure to expect more shit like this coming down the line, and even after that's all done, expect more Lord Huron bullshit, because frankly it's the only thing that got any attention to my channel, so of course I'm gonna have to milk that dry. Of course, don't expect a lot of the stuff that I mentioned in this video to hold up, especially now that the web series is going on, so that's going to disprove or prove a lot of the stuff that I mentioned. Kind of just wanted to get this out as like sort of a skeleton and just to see how well my beliefs age, which they definitely fucking won't. Regardless, thanks again everyone for watching, and I'll be sure to see you guys again in the next video. Please be sure to check me out on whatever bullshit sites I use, and etc. Insert generic end screen title box. 魚立ちははしゃぐ